Today's message is a message of unity, of solidarity to the people of New York, to the people of New Jersey, and all across the country that have honored the memory of George Floyd, that have stood up to stop the racial imbalance in this country, to fight for equality. Is an affront not only to his memory and his family, but to all of our countrymen and women across the nation. We are in a time period in here in 2021 where the nation needs to heal. We need to come together as a people. We do not need to have this animosity between white people, between Black people, between all of the other races. We need to come together. First and foremost, we are Americans. And when something like this takes place, when something like what happened to George Floyd takes place, as a country, we come together to solve those things. We come together to demand justice. We come together to demand better ways of policing, better ways of tackling these type of issues. That doesn't mean that we should continue on racial strife, that we should be fighting against one another, that we should be dividing along racial lines and tribalism. From my background, coming from my background, I was once the leader of the largest Nazi party in the United States, the National Socialist Movement. I'm not proud of that history. I spent 25 years as leader of that organization, 27 years there total. If anybody knows about racial strife, it would be me, unfortunately. Today, I'm using that lived experience to speak out against racism, to speak out against hate, to speak out against injustice, indignity, and all of those things that divide our country. All of those years, I believed that I was a patriot. I believed that I was doing the right thing for a very long time. Today, doing the right thing and being a patriot, what that truly means is to unite the country, to unite our people together. Race should not divide us. This is a country that was built for all people, for humanity. Look at our humanity. Look at what binds us together. So my message to the people of New York and New Jersey today is, do not let this act of aggression, of this act of hatred, divide you. Do not fall into that trap and divide against your fellow Americans. This heinous act was done by a small group of people that have hatred in their hearts, that are not patriotic. They're not trying to unite the country. The most patriotic duty you can do for your country is to unite. It's not to divide along color lines and say, well, I'm white, or I'm Black, or I'm this, or I'm that. Tribalism is what has gotten us to the point we're at here today and where we're at as a society, divided. In today's America, we have so much polarization and division, even between your Democrats and Republicans, the main political parties. People won't talk to one another. They won't have dialogue. A lot of this ignorance is based on misunderstandings. It's based on fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of the future. People involved in these kind of movements that believe in this type of thing, like I once was, believe that white people are going to face genocide, that they're going to be wiped out. Other races have fears of their own as well. A lot of people, a lot of my friends in the Black community fear the police. These are issues, and when something like what happened to George Floyd happens, it's completely understandable. That fear is rational in the minds of a lot of people when something like that happens. Is it realistic? You have bad apples. You have people that are doing, human beings make mistakes, and human beings have, have done some really evil things to one another over the course of history. And a lot of times in the public eye, what we see are those horrific things, those horrific experiences. The murder of George Floyd is one of those horrific things that has gone down in history. And there's people that don't like seeing that, or that don't like to be aware of that sort of thing happening in our society, or want to turn it into a racial issue. What I saw on that day from watching that video was a man's life snuffed out on camera. Thinking about it, picturing it is absolutely heartbreaking. It's gut-wrenching. I didn't see a black man on the ground there. I didn't see a white man on his neck. I saw a victim and a victimizer. Justice has been done, if you can call it that. I think it's a far cry. No one's life can be returned. A life is priceless. A human life is priceless. There's no price tag on that. Whether it's prison, whether it's the death penalty, whether it's financial, any other reason, you cannot put a price tag on a man's life, on anyone's life. Life is precious. Let's reconnect with our humanity. Let's get back to where we should be as a society, not divide over race, not make everything about race, not fight against our brothers and sisters just because they're allied or affiliated with different political parties. Sure, there are some ideas and values and perspectives that are ugly, that are unpopular, or that maybe are even completely wrong. Isn't that one of the cornerstones of our democracy, of our constitutional republic, is to be able to have those different ideas? We as a nation need to come together. We need to find our commonalities. We are bound by our humanity. We are tied by our national pride in our country. Just because a few individuals desecrated something that should have never been desecrated does not make America a bad place. So my message first to the people of New York and New Jersey and anywhere else that has faced this sort of injustice, I'm with you. I understand. We're all with you. We stand together, united in this. And to those that would seek to divide our nation, let me speak to you as well. I understand your perspectives. I understand your grievances. I was once there as well. I get it. I get where you're coming from. But desecrating a monument or a memorial to a man whose life was taken and shown basically on national television, international television, is the ultimate form of disrespect. I understand in these movements, respect is very important. Honor is very important. There's no honor in desecrating a man's memorial. How is that honorable? How is that patriotic? How is that doing anything to better this nation that you claim to fight for, that you claim to believe in? There's no honor in it. There is no honor in it. There is no dignity in it. And there certainly isn't any patriotism in it. Do better. Do better for your fellow man. Set a shining example for humanity, for all of us. Do things that will unite and bring our nation stronger, not make it weaker and divide us. Dividing along those racial lines, no matter what side you're on. And I'm not talking just to the people that are doing these sorts of things, but anyone else from any racial group or any political party. If you are doing something to divide our nation, you are not being patriotic. You are not being kind. You're not being a good example to humanity. You might say, why is Jeff Scoop giving this message? This is a bad individual. This is somebody that divided the country for 27 years. Maybe you shouldn't listen. But what I'm seeing now, as a real American patriot, is that we must unite as a nation, as a people, as humanity. We can do better. We can be that shining light to the rest of the world. Once again, we have to stop dividing, and we have to stop harming one another and disrespecting people, disrespecting the dead of all things. So my message to those communities that have been especially affected by this type of thing is, we are here for you. We are standing in solidarity with you, and we do understand. We grieve with you. We stand with you. Let's do better as a nation. Let's come together. And let's set an example for our children, for our next generations, for all the generations to come, that we will not be divided. We will not allow some small group of people to divide us. And we will not be dividers in our own lives. We will not divide over race, over ethnicity, over religion. Those are the tactics of failure, the tactics of hate, the tactics of division. We can do better. If you love America, stand for America. Come together as a people. All people, not based on race. My deepest respects to the family of George Floyd and all of the other victims of all the different races here in America and abroad. That's how we need to look at this going forward. Thank you.